Good morning, everybody. And today we have one of the most fun interviews you could possibly imagine. We have Loretta LaRoche. Loretta is a specialist in stress reduction and humor and wit and motivation. So welcome, Loretta.
Well, thank you for that exciting intro.
Now, Loretta has been to the Hanover Theatre a few times before. She was part of our grand opening season, and we're thrilled to have you back by popular demand. Tell us what you've been up to in the last 6 years, right?
Well, I'm always trying to keep reinventing myself so I don't become my own Groundhog Day.
That's very
because
funny.
There's nothing like dying of your own boredom, you know?
Yes, although I wish I had a little boredom. That would be nice as a little rest.
Well, I think people don't realize that they're actually getting boring by repeating their busy lives and doing the same thing over and over and over, and then keep adding to it until pretty soon they don't have 1 minute.
And for everybody who's listening, Loretta really knows what she's talking about. She is on the Mass General Advisory Council for Anxiety and Depression, and she's also founder and president of the Humor Potential, which is a company offering programs and products for lifestyle management. A lot of people also know Loretta through her TV personality. I know some of my friends are big fans through your PBS specials and your books.
Well, I've been very fortunate to have a career that's ongoing, and that has created a lot of offshoots of my insanity.
Well, what I love about your story too is that you took a potentially extremely stressful situation and you really turned it around for yourself. Do you mind sharing a little bit of how you got started with our audience?
Well, I actually got married at a very young age, and I was in college and had children, et cetera. And in those days, back in the Neanderthal days, women were expected to stay home and tend the fire and have the children and be June Cleaver. And then I got divorced after a number of years and had to start earning a living on my own.
Right.
And so I actually started by attending Lesley College and studying dance therapy because I have my bachelor in speech therapy and communications. But I was really interested in dance, and so I started going there, and it was very tedious with 3 children and trying to, add some income to the household. So I got about halfway through, but in the meantime, I started teaching exercise to music, which was unheard of at that time.
Right, and boy, what a craze that turned into, right?
Yes, it did, and I have had to have joint replacements as a result.
Oh boy, that's a warning to all of us out there. Easy does it, right?
The pounding and the wrong floors and the bad shoe. We didn't have the kind of footwear that we have now.
No, but hey, I bet you looked really great.
What really seemed to capture people is that during the time I was teaching the classes, people would be laughing themselves silly. And the time would fly by, and, all of a sudden the class was over. And I happened to meet a nurse who came to one of my classes, and she casually mentioned that she had some literature from Norman Cousins that showed that laughter was a healing. So that sort of became a segue to she and I getting involved in teaching a program for nurses called Humor and Healing.
Ah, nice. Laughter is the best medicine.
And that was sort of the kickoff to my career in some ways, because as more and more nurses became interested in the programs we put together, which did include some movement as well, then, they would have people in their family or husbands, et cetera, would say, oh, we have an organization we'd like you to come to and talk about stress and humor and, how to reduce it. And so I started to really become a devotee of the stress response and how it impacted our bodies and how humor could intervene, because Cousins actually had a very painful condition called ankylosing spondylitis, and which is part of the arthritis family. And he started using candid camera and having people tell him jokes, and and really just inundated himself with humor, and he started reducing his pain meds as a result.
Isn't that great?
So there is a lot of literature now, because that was years ago, that shows that humor is a fabulous way to, change our mindset, change our pain cycle to some degree. It can help our immune system, and it certainly is a benchmark for mental well-being, because if you're not laughing, you're essentially cascading down into the spiral of depression.
Oh, we need to start laughing right away.
Our society today is becoming more and more miserable. There's actually a misery index, believe it or not.
Oh.
And it's climbing.
Not here in Worcester, though.
I just wrote an article, actually, for the Gatehouse Media folks. I've been writing an article every week called "Get a Life" of the Patriot Ledger, and it goes into different markets. And most people perceive me as writing columns that tickle their funny bone to a degree, but they often have some kind of practical lesson. And today, I just had a need to write about the violence that is becoming more of the American nightmare than the American dream.
Mm.
And I think it's because we're not having any fun.
Let's change that.
And we're not getting nurtured. And I'm not saying that's why people are killing other people, but it's a lot different than when I was a kid. I mean, nobody went out and did mass murders.
No. Well, the fact is they probably did, but we didn't hear about it as much as we hear about it now.
Well,
part of communication and media and technology, I think it does add a lot of stress and a lot of drama to our lives, because we are all so accessible all of the time, and we also have accessibility to news and information and pictures that,
right.
Truthfully.
But I don't think in America, when I was a kid, that people went into a school and killed people.
That is horrible.
And I don't think they went into malls and killed people, or stores, or, maybe the mafia did.
Right.
But it wasn't a way of life. And I think we've just spiraled into a darker place because, part of it, and I'm not attributing this to that kind of violence, but think of how busy everybody is.
Right.
How people are so attached to their technology that they don't even have time to sit and have a conversation face to face and to laugh.
Mm.
I mean, I grew up in an Italian household where people were cracking up every day.
That sounds like a much better way to be.
Yeah, and you had meals together.
Yep.
And you weren't obsessing about what was in the food all the time.
Right.
And people weren't walking around worrying about their weight constantly because there weren't a lot of fat people.
Well, I think we were definitely more active, that's for sure.
I just think we really need to sort of reconfigure how we're living our lives and to add fun and humor and laughter before we're all on antidepressants.
I agree with that. Now, for our listeners, I want you to know that Loretta has been nominated for local and primetime Emmy Awards, and she's appeared on CNN, ABC, NBC, and Fox Affiliates TV. So Loretta knows what she's talking about here, and she's got a lot of credibility. And any quick tips to kind of bring that humor into the everyday life?
I think you have to wake up in gratitude every day. I think that's one of the ways that you can become more lighthearted. Think about what you have, not what you don't have.
That's for sure.
And, you'll feel more comfortable within yourself. I mean, that's not to say you can't strive and yearn for things, but a lot of us are certainly blessed to have a lot more than other people.
We were talking a little bit about how you can add humor and start with an attitude of gratitude. That's one of my favorite sayings. I think it's Maya Angelou who says a lot about that. But tell us a little bit about what we can expect when we see you on stage at the Hanover Theatre.
I think I'm quite adept at holding up a mirror to the absurdities in the culture. I mean, my latest venue of hilarity is the Miley Cyrus debacle.
Oh, God. I know I saw your blog about that.
Yeah, I might come on and twerk. Who knows?
Oh, you're going to pull the dancing shoes out of your past closet.
I mean, there's so much. People say, where do you get your humor? Are you kidding?
I know.
I mean, just, read the paper cover to cover. And aside from, things that are happening that are tragic, there is always something ludicrous.
I know.
That's going on.
I know. And
we're becoming a world of celebrity-driven people. So now, no longer do we get informed by physicians and researchers. We have Jennifer Aniston telling us to drink smart water.
I know, right?
And I never knew water was smart until she told me.
I think only the purest water is smart, though.
Exactly. So, I just think riffing off of the everyday and how we get caught up in it, to me, is funny. And if people can laugh at some of their behavior, and especially at themselves, they become their own sitcom, and then they can become eternally amused.
Oh, so true. So true. And if you're looking for any inspiration, I would recommend that people visit your website. What is your web address, Loretta?
It's LorettaLaRoche.com, and they can like my page
on Facebook.
And don't go to my profile page, because that's gotten to be 5,000 already, since I'm just such an amazing woman. No, I'm kidding.
I like your
there's
blog,
the fan
though.
page. They can like it. And I'm always posting on there and having dialogues. Yesterday, I started out by talking about the irony of how researchers have been promoting eating fish 2 or 3 times a week and taking omega-3 fatty acids to boost brain health, and now they don't think it matters.
Oh, God. That's a lot of tuna fish, isn't it?
Well, it's always something. 1 week it's rutabaga. Now kale is king. I mean, you have to keep up with this stuff, otherwise you completely deteriorate.
It's true. And then you know what? It's all the attachments that go along with it. What the latest thing is the bullet, right? The juicer, but it's not a juicer, it's for vegetables.
Oh, dear Lord.
I know.
How did my Italian grandmother live to be 95 without all of this information?
She probably had homemade food without any preservatives and a glass of wine every day.
I think she did, and so did my mother.
And plenty of olive oil, right?
I think there's still a lot of good stuff out there, and some additives have boosted the ability for people to get taller, because if you go back to the 1800s, the doorways were 4 feet or something,
It's true. It's true.
So you can't demonize all the food today. You have to look at it with perspective. And that's what I think we lose. We lose perspective in lieu of all the stuff that's thrown at us every day about how we have to be afraid of every stinking thing we do.
It's so true. Well, the title of your show is Life is Not a Stress Rehearsal, bringing yesterday's sane lifestyle into today's insane world. And then your graphics, it's like a little iPhone, with a button down at the bottom for tech, work, kids, family, spouse. It's pretty funny, actually. How did you get the inspiration for that?
Well, I have to give credit where credit is due. My son came up with that.
Would that be Eric?
That's Eric, yeah. He's been my business manager for God knows how long.
Well, that's wonderful.
It's quite an interesting relationship to have a son that's your business manager, and you're his, so that you have this little thing going on. I'm the mother. I'm the business manager.
Oh my God. I bet there's lots of material for finding humor in that relationship and that dynamic.
Yes. There's humor, and there's also angst.
Hey, but don't you turn the stress around?
Well, I try. I'm human. I can get into my little catastrophic thinking, everybody else.
Well, we at the Hanover Theatre, we love working with you. We love working with your son, Eric. He does a good job for you. He keeps you current. I'm sure you do a lot of your own current thinking, but he keeps you right there in the public eye, and you guys have built a really successful business together.
Well, he's definitely been an incredible addition to helping me get where I am, and I'm also proud to say that this year I got the Woman of the Year award from the Nantucket Comedy Festival.
Ooh, that's hot.
And I met Dick Cavett and his wife.
Wow.
And I'm not usually into self-aggrandizement, but this is a big one because he heard me on stage and he came up to me afterwards and he said, "Well, girl," he said, "I don't tell this to everybody, but you've got it."
Oh, and you know what? That is a fabulous thing to hear, especially from somebody who really knows what it is, right?
Yeah, he's an icon in the business, and he was a writer of comedy, of course, for Johnny Carson and many other people before he went into his own career. So I felt that was one of my special moments in life.
Absolutely. And we're so pleased that you're going to be returning again to the Hanover Theatre. Again, that's Saturday.
I hope we get lots and lots of people because what people need to know is laughter really, really helps the mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely.
You know, it just lifts your spirit. And even if you're going through some bad times, your brain needs a small vacation, a respite from whatever you're going through. You can always go back to it, but at least a little bit of levity gives you that moment.
Absolutely.
You know, where you can step away from what's going on.
Absolutely. And so Loretta has been described as bringing a breath of fresh air for everyone who's suffocating in our techno-crazed, germ-phobic, go-go-go world. And I think that really sums it up.
Don't you think?
I do. And, you know, it's funny. I have a teenage daughter, and just watching the way that technology, and we've talked about this on the program before, technology has really impaired, I think, some of the development of today's younger people, where it's harder for them, not my daughter, but in general, harder for teenagers to make a personal connection and have a personal conversation because they're so used to texting or tweeting and limiting their communication to a certain number of characters. And there's not the same level of intimacy in communication when it's through characters rather than face-to-face.
That's exactly right. And even more, disturbing is the fact that research shows that they are losing empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't look into the eyes, which is the window of the soul of another human being, you really don't see them.
I agree with you.
So, you know, there's a lot going on there.
There really is. So everybody, come and take a break from the crazy go-go-go world. Come and laugh with us when Loretta LaRoche takes the stage with her Life is Not a Stress Rehearsal evening of fun and laughter. And she's going to make us all feeling healthy and vivacious by the end of Saturday, October 19th. Again, tickets are available at thehanovertheatre.org, and we are happy to help you at the box office as well. Loretta, anything in closing that you want to make sure our listeners hear?
Well, no, I just tell people to become the fun you're seeking.
Oh, yes.
Otherwise, you'll never have fun.
Oh, become the fun you're seeking. Okay, I've got my marching orders for the week.
And it was great talking to you.
Yes, thanks for coming on to the program, and we're looking forward to seeing you, and we'll all remember to have fun.
And I love the Hanover Theatre, and I know everyone else will, too.
Perfect. We love you, too. We'll see you soon, and we'll see everybody at the theater.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.